then the only other option I have to impress upon you that you can't engage in this behavior is going to be jail time.
Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I have a clip for you from Judge George Mertz at the 46th Circuit Court in Michigan. And he's got two neighbors in his courtroom that really hate each other. And in fact, one of them has been already charged and sentenced for harmful conduct for shooting out his neighbor's Kubota. And because of that case, he has a PPO. You know, he is restricted by a PPO. And now he is up already for some PPO violations. And I'll let you guys be the judge.
On the record in the court of Gergasi versus Gunn. This is case number 2311370. Seated. Present here today. Mr. Gunn's also present. Represented by counsel by appointment. This is set for hearing on an alleged violation of the personal protection order in this case. So, Mr. Gergasi, the way we're going to proceed today, the court's going to place you under oath, have you testify as to what you believe has taken place that is a violation of the personal protection order. Mr. Mertz, on behalf of Mr. Gunn, will have an opportunity to cross-examine you, ask you questions. Do you have any other witnesses that you plan on calling today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And then Mr. Mertz, you'll have an opportunity, obviously, to call the witnesses on behalf of Mr. Gunn.
Correct. The only individuals I intend on calling, depending on how the testimony goes, are the two minor children from Mr. Mann, who are witnesses. It again depends on what Mr. Gergasi testifies to.
Okay. And Mr. Mertz, just so you're aware, because Mr. Gergasi is not represented, I'm going to allow him to testify in the form of narrative. But obviously, you'll have the opportunity to cross-examine him if you need to. So, Mr. Gergasi, if you come forward, please, and then we come right up and here. If you can raise your right hand, you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please be seated. And so, Mr. Gergasi, the court granted this hearing based on a paper that you filed back in August. That was August 22nd of 2023. And in that you reference some incidents that looks like took place on May 15th and May 17th that you believe were violations of the personal protection order. So can you tell me about those two dates and what you witnessed that you believe was a violation of that order?
And August 1st also, Your Honor, would be.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, if I can just grab my notes.
Yes, you can grab your notes, but I'm going to have you testify first, if you can, by memory, and then if you can't remember, let me know that.
Yes, Your Honor.
So just to explain to you the kind of the process for Mr. Gergasi, you're allowed to review your notes to refresh your memory, but you can't testify just right from your notes.
Yes, sir. So starting in May, the defendant, Mr. Gunn, when I returned to Michigan and to my place of business in employment, which I own, which is the motel and restaurant in Levels, started coming by repeatedly, blasting music in his truck, slowing down, giving me the finger as he drove by, coming on to the property, my property repeatedly. And we do share a property line, and I understand. So he's never not going to be within my side of view. or, we're not going to be in a close proximity, which I understand that. But with the previous case, which he has already pleaded guilty to, and had been sentenced for shooting out my tractor windows, after repeatedly before the.
I want to object as to relevance, that doesn't go to the dates that are in question.
I'm gonna allow Mr. Gergasi a little leeway here, because he is unrepresented. Mr. Gergasi, to the extent he can, what I really need to know about is what happened to get you to file this show cause for violating the order. So, and the other thing too is I presided over that other case.
Yes,
I'm already aware of some of what's gone on between the two of you. So don't really need you to recap that. You just stick to what we need to talk about today.
So he repeatedly tried to continually tried to scare me, coming onto the property, coming close to me, intimidating my clients at the motel. And mostly all in just intimidation procedures. I repeatedly went to the prosecutor and called the police to let them know what was going on. And then on August 1st, it is when it really escalated, when Mr. Gahn came within literally inches of me in his vehicle when I was on my property. And Your Honor, I'm not saying that he tried to hit me, but he came as close as he possibly could. I called the sheriff, and the sheriff came out and said they were going to send this to the prosecutor. The prosecutor at that time, for whatever reason, did not take action and said that I should take action myself and proceed to file the paperwork to come to the hearing we're at now, which I have video evidence and picture evidence to present to you, so you can see that. It has not stopped. Literally, Your Honor, today, when I went out to use the restroom, sitting in the courtroom and came in, he started laughing hysterically in my face, coming back into the courtroom today. I'm sure that's on video evidence and surveillance out in the lobby. He just does not, under any circumstances, want to relent from intimidating myself, my family, and quite frankly, the customers in my business.
What kind of media do you have the video?
I have a video card that we made of videos, and I also have still photos to present.
Okay. All right. Why don't you show the still photos to Mr. Gerber?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Yes.
And Your Honor, while they're reviewing those, I will say in the videos, I'm sorry.
Let's just hold on to one second.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to ask you some questions about those photos. If you can be seated again.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to have you hold on to those for right now.
I'll stipulate to their admission if you want. If that's what you're asking, Judge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I'll make that easier. Yep.
All right. So I'm sorry. I'm getting closer. Plan for petition. And then he says it's group, that is petitioners exhibit A, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. A1 through A4, and then if you can refer to them, you already kind of have a number.
Yes, sir.
Or so if you could just refer to the number, Mr. Gergasi, if you want to tell me what those photos depict. And, why
So
they're relevant.
Your Honor, in photo number 1, you can clearly see that I'm spraying weeds in my parking lot. The defendant's truck is going by the road. His driveway is about 35 feet past this point where he would turn up to go up a road to his driveway. You can see that I am looking down in this photo, spraying weeds, unaware that a car is coming up. And you know, it's County Highway 612 in Levels, downtown Levels, so it's a busy road. So, you know, to hear a car that's coming on the road, it wasn't arousing to me that there was a car coming by.
Okay, and I just want to clarify a few things for my knowledge.
Yes, sir.
So the person in the reddish kind of shirt.
That's me.
Is there somebody else next to you, or is that something? in the
No,
background?
that's my, I'm spraying weed, so I have a weed
Okay.
spraying container. And this is the defendant's pickup
A
truck.
white truck with that black line.
Yes, sir.
Across it. Okay.
And this building here is the front building on my property. So that would be the restaurant and store building
Okay.
on that property.
All right.
In photo number 2, you can see, because my position hasn't changed, but this truck now, the tires are no longer, these tires are no longer on the road. They're on my property with the outside tires being on the road. Here I am, I turn because this vehicle is right on top of me. And I turn and I look directly in that window with Mr. Gahn reaching across one of his younger sons, sticking his middle finger out towards me. And then photo 3, you can see my right leg, I'm trying to come back. Again, his tires that much further closer to me, and I'm trying to back away from the truck as he goes by. And again, all the reference, same camera, same photos, you know, same photos from the same camera. And you can see my shadow on the truck, how close he is to me. And then in 4 is just the same of all 4 of them, to, you know, to show them the same photos in per session.
And are these screenshots from your video?
They are screenshots from the video.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I'm going to admit those photos then, since they're screenshots from the video, and I don't think we have a way, and Mr. Gerber wouldn't be able to view that video. I'm not going to do that, but these are screenshots from that.
And in Your Honor, also on the other videos, there's just several videos that show Mr. Gahn's behavior when I'm present at the property, how he goes by, how he pulls over and stops when I'm there. And then a few other videos that show when I'm not at the property, his behavior of turning in to the property and how he reacts are 100% opposite.
Okay.
The video shows that it's when I'm there, he has a set of behavior of how he drives and what he does, and when I'm not present, how he drives in the property and what he does.
Okay. All right. Setting aside the videos for the moment, is there anything else that you want to tell me about incidents either in May on August 1st or any other incidents that you believe would be violations of the order?
You know, pretty much, Your Honor, he has gone out of his way to do everything he can to intimidate me throughout the entire process of the court proceedings and up to today in the lobby of the courthouse. It's been continual, nonstop. I have done everything to the point of the law legally to have boundaries set. I have paid to have surveys done to the cost of thousands of dollars to make him happy, to understand where the property line is, which shouldn't matter whatsoever. Doesn't matter to me where the property lines is. What matters to me is being a good neighbor to everybody. And he just continuously harasses and intimidates myself and my family to the point I've had heart problems. I've been a cardiologist. I'm on medication. I've never been to a doctor or been on medication in my life because of what this man has done. And it's like living in a terrorist state. It doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop for any reason.
Thank you. Mr. Gergasi?
So I'm asking, this is Highway 612, correct?
Yes, sir.
And where the truck is that the shoulder of the road?
No, sir, that is my property.
Are there property lines, stakes in the property there?
Yes, sir, I have stakes in the property because I have paid to have the property line staked out.
My question was, in those photos, do you see where the property line is, or are they stakes in that picture?
There are not stakes in the picture.
Okay, so that picture doesn't show where the property line is that
It does
correct?
not.
Okay. Were you throwing nails on the side of the shoulder?
Your Honor, I object to that. I have never thrown nails on the side of the shoulder, ever, never.
All right, I don't think that's an objection. You're saying that didn't happen.
That did not happen.
So you don't throw nails on the shoulder or on the driveway where Mr.
That's a repetitive question. I have never thrown nails on the side of the shoulder.
You've never thrown nails on the drive when Mr. Gunn turns.
That is correct.
You in this personal protection order, at least the violation, you indicate he stops and turns his music loud.
Yes, sir.
Does Mr. Gunn have a mailbox at the end of that driveway, that shared driveway?
No, he does not.
There's no mailbox there at all.
No, sir.
Okay. You indicate that Mr. Gunn intimidates you.
Yes, sir.
He's never walked into your motel, correct?
He has walked repeatedly on my
My
property
question was,
across the motel.
he's never
So
walked-
are you talking about inside the building or on the
My
property?
question was clear. Did he ever walk inside your motel?
He has not walked inside the motel.
Has he ever called you at the motel on a phone?
No, sir.
Okay. You say he's come onto your property. Has he parked in one of the parking spaces in your property?
No, he came on it on foot
Okay, when was that? On May 15th?
on many occasions.
I'm just asking on May 15th, was he there on foot?
He has come on to the property on many occasions. I can't tell you exactly on May 15th.
Okay, so my question is, if you don't recall, if he came on foot on May 15th, you don't recall.
No, I recall him coming on and it's on video, and it's also on video on the past cases that I've submitted to the court.
Okay, my
That he has
question,
been on the property many times.
sir, my question is very clear. On May 15th, was he on foot on your property?
I don't recall May 15th
On
exactly.
May 17th, was he on foot on your property? Yes or no, sir?
I'm going to say on vehicle, not foot.
Okay, on August 1st, was he on foot in your?
No, he was in vehicle.
Okay, and he was in your parking lot?
Yes, he was.
And you don't have any pictures showing where the stakes are in the ground, determining where the property line is?
I do have stakes on the ground determining where the property lines are. They're just not in the photos.
That's what my question was. They're not in that photo.
That's correct.
I have nothing further, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gergasi. I'm gonna have you step down at this point.
I'm gonna call my client, Judge.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give. Nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Please be seated.
you.
So, state your full name for the record.
Arthur Wilhelm Gann,
Spell your last name.
Gann, G-A-H-N,
Mr. Gann, where do you reside?
6638 Railroad Grade.
Okay. Is that off Highway 612?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge, if I may approach with the scriptures.
Yes.
Mr. Gann, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 1. Could you explain to the court what that picture is?
That's me driving home. I'm coming home from in town.
Okay, and where is your truck?
It's on the shoulder of the road.
Okay, and is that your understanding of where the stakes are? Which marks Mr. Gergasi's property line?
No, sir, there's no stakes in the front of that building.
Okay.
There's no stakes by the road. Actually, you can actually tell by the pictures that from the white line in the center of the road to the pictures I have and these, that it's 32 feet is right away for the county, the plot. That's public property. We have always used that shoulder, always, even going out, because when we go out, the corner, if you look to the right leaving, you can't see anything coming. And that corner is a bad corner. He's correct. That's a bad road right there because the 18-wheelers come flying through it at 50 miles an hour. And from that corner, when they pop around that corner, there's no way that that truck can stop before he gets to the driveway. So when I pull out, I always pull out on that shoulder to use my mirror to see if anything's coming around the corner before I pull out to go. And I'm using the shoulder. I don't run on nobody's property. I've always used that shoulder. The man lives next door to me, uses the shoulder. I've used that shoulder for 3 years. There's never been any complaints at all of using that. I've never changed any way I drive. I drive the same way every day for the last 3 years. And we've always used the shoulder of that because that corner's so bad. You've got people coming up behind you. That's just a courtesy thing. You move over, let them go. So that way you're not impeding traffic.
Okay. So in that picture, which direction are you headed?
If you go up about another, I don't know, 18, 20 feet, the corner of my driveway is right on the corner of this building.
Okay. So why do you pull into the shoulder?
I pull into the shoulder to let people go past me. Because there's always somebody behind me when I come around that corner. And not always, but most of the time. So it's just an automatic thing. I pull off into the shoulder. As I'm coming around that corner, I always pull off on the shoulder.
Okay.
And then I turn into the driveway because the driveway's right there.
Do you stop at the end of your driveway?
Sometimes I do to pick up the mail.
Do you have a
There
mail-
is a mailbox. Yes,
Let me ask
there's,
you the questions.
I'm sorry.
Is there a mailbox at the end of the driveway?
Yes, there is.
And how do you drive up to the mailbox and stop and get mail if you explain that to the court?
If I'm coming up in his picture, I pull into my driveway and then back up and back out on the shoulder. On the other side of the driveway is where the mailbox is. So the mailbox is not on his side, it's on the other side of the driveway. And there's 3 mailboxes, one of them is his. And me and the man that lives above me, our mailboxes is right next to his. And so they're all 3 on one post or 2 posts with a board across it. And it's got 3 mailboxes on it. I pull in the driveway and back out and then back up to the mailbox, pull out, get my mail, shut the mailbox, put it back in gear and drive, and I pull to the left now, going up the hill into my driveway.
When Mr. Gergasi says there's no mailbox at the end, is that correct?
No, that's not correct. There's a mailbox on the other side of the driveway.
And one of those mailboxes is his.
Yes,
Okay. I want to show you the other 3 pictures collectively. If you explain to the court, is that the same thing you're doing with these other pictures, just turning?
yes, that's it. It's actually the same day.
Sure. At some point, there were some nails on the shoulder, correct?
Yes,
Do you know how the nails were on the shoulder?
yes. My oldest son come running up and he went down, he had an appointment. And he went down to catch the dollar ride. And my son watched him throwing nails on that shoulder where the dirt is. So he come running up to the house right away and he said, Dad, whatever you do, when you leave, don't pull on that corner on that shoulder. I said, why? He said, there's nails all over it. He said, I just seen Bill throwing nails on it. I said, Bill did that? He said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, well, I'll go down there and get pictures of it and I'll pick up the nails. So I went down there a couple days later. I don't get out very often. I spend 70% of my time in bed. When I did get out, I got out a couple days later. I was feeling pretty good.
Let me show you these 3 pictures that I'm gonna ask them to refer to them collectively. What are those pictures of?
These are the pictures of the nails that are on that shoulder that he threw down on me.
Should I ask that these be marked as
Show
respondents?
those to Mr.
I did.
Your Honor, I object to those photos. Those are photos that could have been taken at any driveway, any side of the road, any place in the world. They do not show nails outside that area exactly.
Okay, and those are all reasons why they might not have a lot of weight, but that doesn't mean they're not admissible. And I'll give you a chance to ask, you're gonna have a chance to ask Mr. Connie questions, and you can ask him about these as well.
I would ask that they collectively, 4 of them be marked as respondents A, Judge.
I guess, no.
The,
Hold on. I mean, I can admit all 4 of these. But, okay, if you want to admit all 4, I'll.
I just think collectively they show the nails and the gravel on that side there, Judge. Judge, and I can have them on.
Or that this is the fence,
Mr. Gann, are those the pictures of that shoulder?
yes, sir. The reason why there's 4 of them is because I was taking it like this, like this, like this.
And are those pictures from some other driveway?
No, sir.
And those are pictures that you took?
Yes, sir.
And those are the driveway where you're going to go up your driveway?
Yes, sir. And the other pictures.
Well, hold on. Ask your questions.
Okay.
It's a process.
Your Honor, I object to these questions. They have no bearing on this case.
well, again, I mean, you can argue that they don't mean anything, or that the answers aren't probative, but that, like, they're the proper questions. So I'm gonna allow the questions.
Mr. Gann, would you tell me what that picture is of?
That's a picture of mine and other people's tire tracks on that shoulder.
Okay, and is that the shoulder that you used to turn up your driveway?
Yes, sir. And you can also see in the pictures where the lines are, and that's clearly not 32 feet from the shoulder, or from the center of the road. Okay.
Judge, I ask that this be admitted as respondents E.
I'll admit that as E.
Mr. Gann, would you tell me what these 2 pictures are of?
Same area, but I backed up, got back inside the truck and took the pictures at a different view to show you that that's the shoulder of the road. And he has a trailer out there, he puts the snowmobiles in, and the snowmobile trailer, you can see that if you back the truck up to it, hitch it up, there's no way a truck would fit in there up to that white line and go over past the white line. So the very front of that trailer, the very tip of that trailer is actually on county property.
Would you explain to the court how you drive and where do you drive to come up into your driveway?
When you go into Levels, when you head into Levels, going towards Lewiston, that's the corner right there. There's a little store on the other side of his trailer. And then there's his place. I mean, they're right adjacent to each other. And then there's our driveway. And when you come around the corner, I come right around the corner this way. And I watch my meters because usually there's somebody behind me. And I pull over on that corner right there, right where my finger's at. I pull over into the shoulder and get into the gravel and then turn in my driveway. And it's, I mean, my driveway's right there. So when I pull on the shoulder, I'm turning in my driveway right away. Or I'm turning in there to back up to my mail.
Do you ever go onto the motel property?
No, sir. Absolutely not. No, sir.
I would ask that these 2 be collectively be admitted as.
Can I see those photos, please?
Yes. That's what you judge.
Yours are actually numbers,
Oh, okay,
so, but I've got them.
okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
I'll I'll take those as 3 and 4 as pictures of the general area there.
Do you ever stop at Mr. Gergasi's place of business in his property and blast your music?
No, I run my music loud in my truck all the time. I go to school every day to pick up my son from school, the younger one, and in Joburg. And you can ask the people that work there, the principals and all that. When I pull in there, my radio is blaring, and I leave it blaring.
Do you ever stop at Mr. Gergasi's place of business in his parking lot blasting your music?
Absolutely not.
Do you ever flip Mr. Gergasi off while you're driving?
No, I've never flipped him off. And my kids are in the truck all the time with me. They would attest to that too. I mean, I'm not like that. I don't flip people off.
And Mr. Gergasi testified, he's called the police numerous times. Have the police ever come and talk to you about these incidents from May or August?
No, sir. I've never had a police officer come up and talk to me and ask me questions about the restraining order itself, about not following the order or doing something wrong with the order. Never had an officer come to my house.
Did an officer talk to you today when Mr. Gergasi states that you were laughing at him?
No,
Do you ever stop and intimidate Mr. Gergasi?
absolutely not. No, sir.
Has Mr. Gergasi seen you at a store and ever felt intimidated?
Yes, sir. My kids were with me. My youngest one, we were in the little store. It's on the corner there. We were in the store. My truck was always parked by the door. I always parked by the door. That impedes the gas pumps, but I always park right by the door so I can get out and go right inside. And I was in the store at the ATM getting money out of the ATM to pay my rent. Him and his wife come in, and he's laughing and talking and living it up. And I thought, wait a minute, now he's got a restraining order on me. What the hell? So I just said to Scott, come on, we gotta go. And I just walked away from the ATM, went right straight out and got my truck. And I drove the truck around into the other side of the parking lot and sat there and waited for Bill and his wife to leave the store. After they left the store, I pulled back in there and went ahead and did my business. And the teller said she would testify to it if I needed it.
I have nothing further, Judge.
All right, Mr. Gergasi, this is your opportunity if you want to ask questions of Mr. Gahn.
Mr. Gahn, you say that I threw nails out. Did you call the police to report that?
I did.
And did the police say that there was a violation that I did anything wrong?
Yes,
Or that I threw nails out?
I'll object as to hearsay. I don't think Mr. Gahn can testify as to what the police said.
He didn't ask what the police said, he just asked if the police had ever made any statement, so I'll allow that question.
The police did come to my house asking me about that. They asked me what happened. I told them my son had come up, told me that he saw you throwing nails out there. And that was it. I just told him the story and then said, I'm gonna go down with a magnet and pick them back up, because I mean, we all use that. That's the shoulder of the road.
And did the officer come out, tell you, or was there an arrest made because there was a violation that somebody threw nails in a public right of way?
I have no idea, sir. The officer came to my house, asked me why I called. I explained to him, told him the story. He left and I never saw him.
So to your knowledge, there was nobody that ever threw nails in a public right of way that you claim?
No. I have an eyewitness that saw you throwing the nails on the driveway.
Were those nails thrown from your eyewitness on private property or public property?
No. No.
Private property or public property is the question, sir.
Judge, I'm gonna.
I don't really understand what he's asking.
It's a pretty
He asked me if
simple,
I threw nails. I
it's a
said
pretty
no.
simple question where the nails that you saw on public property or private property, is that your question?
Yes, Your Honor.
No, sir, that is county right of way property.
But you're saying that you have no knowledge that the county police took any action, even though you claim it was on public property?
Yes, sir. He said that he would take care of it and he would talk to you about it, and that was it. I haven't heard from him since.
So without hearing anything from them, would a reasonable person believe that there was no crime committed?
I have no clue, sir. I'm not the law. I don't know.
Again, I don't think we're here for a criminal charge of whether Mr. Gergasi was charged with a
crime. That's
Well,
the
the fact is, I don't have any police reports showing that anything happened, so from where I'm sitting, there's no evidence other than Mr. Gahn's statements.
Mr. Gahn, is there any reason that you would need to enter onto private or public property 30 feet before the road that enters your driveway area? So it's a road. Is there any reason that you would have to exit the public highway onto private property to turn up a road to go to your driveway?
No, sir, not on private property. As I turn out on 612 from the driveway to go toward town, which would be to the left, which is where your place is at. As I turn, I come out on the shoulder because I can't see what's coming up on that corner. And I use my mirror to see if there's anybody coming. If I don't see anybody, then I pull right out on the road and go.
Okay, but on August 1st, you were coming from the opposite direction.
Okay, yep.
So you would have had clear sight to turn onto your property. So is there any reason you would have to exit the road to turn up
On that shoulder?
the road onto your property to go to your driveway?
Yes,
Which
sir.
your driveway, the road is 75 feet up to your driveway. Is there any reason you have to exit County 612 Road onto a shoulder to turn 20 to 30 feet prior to your road to get to your house?
Yes, sir, when traffic's behind you, it's a courtesy thing where people just pull off to the shoulder, let the guy behind you go because you're getting off the road. So I use that shoulder just like everybody else does.
And on August 1st, was there somebody behind you that required you to exit the road instead of putting on your blinker and turning up into another road where people behind you would respectfully stop, because that's the law, to stop for somebody turning right? Was there a reason that you needed to exit the road, or was there a car behind you that forced you off the road before 30 feet before you turned up your road?
I've never been forced off the road, sir.
That's not the question.
I voluntarily pull off the road.
Okay, so do you voluntarily pull off the road when somebody's standing there?
I have an eyewitness,
Do you voluntarily pull off the road when somebody's standing there?
not in the middle of where I'm driving, no.
Okay, so can you explain to the court why you voluntarily pulled off the road that day to come within inches of somebody who you have a court order to stay away from and not be around and come that close to that day?
Yes, sir. When I look in my mirrors, I see a car behind me on the corner behind me, which is coming from Grayling area, coming into Love's. My son, the youngest one, sitting next to me on that day where you took the pictures. And as I pulled off to the shoulder, he said, "Dad, there's Bill." I said, "Oh, I don't care, because I don't pay you no, never mind." And as I pull off on the shoulder, as I'm pulling off to the shoulder, my son said, "Dad, he's running up to the truck." And I glanced over and you were doing a double time step to hurry to get up by my truck with your little sprayer. And I continued to drive where I was at because I knew that I would not hit you, sir. And I continued and went right up to my mailbox.
Again, sir, was there any reason? Was there any reason?
Being given the opportunity to answer the question.
I think he answered the question. You're just asking it in a different way. I've got the answer. We can move on to your next question.
So on August 1st, did you come within less than a foot of myself on my property 30 feet before you needed to turn up your road as the pictures depict?
Pictures show where you ran up to my truck. I'd like to see the video where it shows that you ran up to my truck.
Your Honor, photos still photos don't lie.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other questions?
We will rest on our evidence.
All right, thank you.
And also, we would also like to put in the video evidence, which shows on multiple occasions Mr. Gahn entering the road at his road when I'm not present. We'd also have the video show that he stops on my property when I'm there, and with his blasting music coming as close as he can when I'm present. And these things only happen when I am there, my car's there, my family's vehicles are there, and he sees them and we're present.
I'd like to be on.
And another question that I do have is, Mr. Gahn, are you in possession of a firearm?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna object as to the relevance.
Well,
No, no.
right now, or
Sorry.
Your Honor, so the order that you signed says that Mr. Gahn is not to be in possession of a firearm. Mr. Gahn's, according to the court, and according to what he has yelled at me on the property, is after the last court hearing, I got my guns back. So not only is he in violation of every aspect of the personal protection order, he is also currently in possession of a firearm, which is against the order that this court has signed.
I understand what you're saying. I don't know that him yelling that at you, if that's true, is enough to prove that he actually has firearms in violation of that order.
But if the sheriff's office, after the last hearing, returned his firearms to him, and he just admitted that he's in possession of a firearm, that is in 100% violation of the protection order that was signed by this court.
Mr. Dunn, just stop for a minute.
Okay,
There's no question.
So, I mean, the order does say he's not supposed to be in possession of a firearm. So, Mr. Gahn, if you have any firearms, you're not supposed to be in possession.
Okay, well, I'll get rid of them then. I did not know that. When the other court case was over.
I don't want to hear any explanations.
all right.
You're not supposed to be in
I was
possession
so I
of
thought
any firearms.
I could. I apologize. I'll get rid of
Mr. Dunn,
them.
shut up.
Mr. Gerber, did you have any more questions?
I'm sorry, Judge.
That's all right, I understand.
I have no further questions.
All right, Mr. Gahn, you can step down. Mr. Gerber, any further questions?
No.
All right. Okay, I've had a chance to review the exhibits that were submitted by the parties. I've had a chance to hear the testimony of both the individuals here today. The allegation is that there have been a number of different violations of the order. I'm looking specifically at Mr. Gergasi's exhibits A1 through A4 that he testified to, and I understand Mr. Gergasi's offered additional evidence on video. This is a hearing as to whether or not Mr. Gahn violated the personal protection order in this case. The court has to allow both sides to present evidence and testimony. As the court has to find if it's going to impose a criminal sanction that Mr. Gahn violated the personal protection order beyond a reasonable doubt. For a civil sanction, the court has to find that he violated the personal protection order by clear and convincing evidence based on the court rules. Applying those standards and looking at the evidence here, what I find to be most compelling are the pictures that Mr. Gergasi submitted. And what I find compelling about them, because they do allow a very specific vantage point here. And when you look at where Mr. Gergasi is in relation to, and I'm stating this for the record, but there's a post right here that's right by where Mr. Gergasi is. And when you look at all of these photos, his position in relation to that post is exactly the same. which tells me that Mr. Gergasi is not moving towards this truck. He is staying in the exact same position in all three of these photos, relation to that post. It's clear to me, based on the location of Mr. Gann's truck, and you can see Mr. Gergasi's shadow on the truck. He is very close to Mr. Gergasi during this drive-by. Mr. Gann, I don't believe that you were pulling into your driveway and that's why you were that close to him. I don't care whether your tires are on public property or private property, because the personal protection order prohibits you from confronting or approaching.
Yes, sir. I understand. He ran, or double time ran up to the truck.
Okay,
I've got a
it's my
witness.
turn to talk right now. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Whether it's on private or public property, under the personal protection order, you're not supposed to confront or approach Mr. Gergasi. And in my view, I think under a common sense view, you're clearly driving as close to him as you can in that picture. Whether you're giving him the finger or not, you can't see that in the picture. But to me, that's really not that relevant because you're driving right up to him. And
Okay.
you're getting within inches of him. And in my view, that's a clear violation of the personal protection order. And that's to say nothing of the fact that you have a copy of this order, which says in pretty plain terms that you're not supposed to possess or purchase any firearms in your possession. You have firearms in your possession by your own admission today. So there's at least two violations of this personal protection order as we sit here right now. I also tend to believe Mr. Gergasi when he says that you're engaging in kind of a pattern here of intimidating. And I just find his testimony on that point to be credible. And I don't find that, you know, your explanations and excuses for why you're driving the way you are to be credible. I just don't believe you. I think you're trying to do whatever you can to intimidate and threaten Mr. Gergasi. And it needs to stop, and it's going to stop.
Yes, sir.
Because this is a first violation of this personal protection order, the court is not going to impose any jail time and going to impose a fine of $500. You already owe a lot of fines and costs on the criminal case, which to date you've only paid $35. We have a hearing coming up on February 20th with regard to payment of those fines and costs. Court, as part of this case, is going to impose a $500 fine.
Okay.
And I'm going to set this for on February 20th as well. You need to start making some payments towards those things. And if you don't, then, and the court finds that you have an ability to make payments, then you are going to spend some time in jail.
No, sir, I don't have the ability to make a lot of money payments. I don't.
Then you're going to have to bring proof of why you can't pay it.
I can write it down right now and show
The
you.
other thing I'm going to tell you, because if the fines don't work, and if you say you don't have money to pay it, and if there is actual evidence that you don't have money to pay it, then the only other option I have to impress upon you that you can't engage in this behavior is going to be jail time. So if we're back again and you're found guilty of violating this personal protection order again, that's what's going to happen. You're going to spend some time in jail. So from now on, you need to make a choice about what's more important to you, being out and not being in jail, or messing around with Mr. Gergasi. All right, that's the clear choice, because I'm done with this and not putting up with it anymore.
I understand.
You didn't get any jail time as part of the criminal case. I'm limiting it to a fine in this case, even though it's a fairly significant fine. Then I'm done. I'm done with it. If you're found guilty again, it's jail time. That's it.
Okay.
So there's no reason for you to engage in this kind of actions towards Mr. Gergasi at all. And any leeway that you've had is not done. So the court will sign an order imposing that fine when you leave court today to stop at the clerk's office to make arrangements. To begin making payments on that. Mr. Gergasi, do you have any questions about how we're going to go forward?
No, Your Honor, the only question I have is if I need to be here for the February 20th hearing.
No, that's totally up to you if you want to be here.
No, and the only reason I say that is obviously we had to hire someone to take care of my father and make a 1,900-mile journey through 2 blizzards to be here for this. So if I could just submit something, a statement to the court on at that time, if need be, and not be here, it would just be a lot easier on myself and my family.
Yeah, there's no obligation for you to hear.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Gertz, I'm going to ask that you and your client just remain there at the table. Mr. Gergasi gets.
The worst thing for this guy is that he admitted to having firearms. And in his PPO, he's not allowed to have firearms. Not only that, but his charge was for shooting at a Kubota, shooting out, the windows or the windshield of the Kubota. So he's already shown that he's reckless with guns, and he's supposed to have gotten rid of them, and he just, didn't. He didn't know that was part of it. Oh, right. Okay. Whatever. But that's my opinion. I think the guy's dangerous. So I think the judge made the right call. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.